Hi everyone, happy Sunday wherever you are. I am not sure if I'm doing this right. This is my first live stream, so we'll see. In any case, the video will be up on our YouTube channel, English for Consultants, if you missed the live stream. Again, I have a moderator here, so I'm sure he'll help me, but I am not sure if I'm doing this correctly. But we're going to push through, and I hope my audio is good. Okay, so if you have never seen my face before, my name is Miriam, and my program is English for Consultants. I'm the founder of English for Consultants, where I help consultants achieve whatever they want to achieve in terms of business by helping them become not fluent, but eloquent, which is higher than fluent, in their English consulting communication skills, and just help them achieve those dreams. So right now, what I'd like to talk to you about is tips and tricks to self-confidence in English. So here we go. Some of these tips, these tricks might be very common, might be something you already know, but they still could be inspirational and motivational to push you to actually use them. Others you might not have heard of, so we'll jump straight into it. So let's talk about self-confidence and planning. So first of all, before you start anything, including actually practicing your English on your own, which we'll also discuss, you need to do something that's called remember your why. You need to remember your why. So what I mean by this is to think deeply. Think about the reason that you need or want fluency in English or eloquence in English for your work. What problems are you having? And this is something that I would actually grab a notebook and write these questions down and answer them in your own time. So what problems are you having? What do you want to achieve? And you need to see it in your mind. Actually envision it in your mind. And this is what's called remembering the why. And what this does psychologically is it creates motivation, and just seeing those problems dissolve as you go along your journey and seeing those goals reached creates self-confidence immediately, as you all know from other goals that you have in life. Another thing we want to do is to make it visual. So if you haven't already, write down your goal in English. Not your goal, I want to improve my English, but what is the end goal? What is the end goal? I want to move to this and this position in my company. I want to move to another company. I want to move to another country, etc., etc. So write down your goal in English, but also in your native language. And additionally, to make it visual, add photos of every goal you have. For example, a photo of your family, a holiday, a photo at the boardroom table, the logo of the company that you want to work for, or the flag of the country where you want to move. So you can put these, as many as you like, put them where you will see them most often, whether it's on the fridge beside your computer, or when you wake up in the morning, you go to the bathroom first, so besides your bathroom mirror. And so every time you see these images, you're going to be motivated, and you're going to read that phrase out loud and reflect on your goal. So your day is going to start off in what we could say the right way. Another thing we want to do is to set constant reminders. So something as easy as setting reminders every day on your mobile phone will help. And when you get that reminder once a day, sit and think of your goal. Sit and think of the questions that you have answered. Look over them again. And this will create a lot of motivation and self-confidence. Okay, so another thing we want to do is to avoid procrastination, which is truly the killer of success in anything we want to do. So procrastination, more than anything, just adds to your anxiety levels in terms of, okay, I really want to, go from fluent to eloquent. I want to feel completely free in English. And then you keep avoiding actually doing something about it. It's just going to feel like an unfinished thing on your shoulders. It's not going to feel good. Your anxiety levels are going to increase. So avoiding procrastination is really key to becoming extremely self-confident. When you're discussing something, when you're sharing your opinions, when you're giving a presentation in English, or just talking to someone you know who speaks English. Okay, so how to avoid it? The first thing we need to do is to schedule. So schedule when you're going to practice English every day or once a week, whatever your schedule permits. Daily would be the best. And we'll get into how you can actually practice your English and improve your English on your own. Another thing that I do personally and that works wonders is to tell your friends and your family your schedule. Because typically friends, and especially family, your mom, your dad, whoever it is, are going to ask, what's up? What have you been doing this week? What have you learned? And it's going to kind of keep you connected to your goal. So peer pressure is typically bad, but here it is actually a great motivator. It's a great tool, because knowing that others are going to check up on your progress really drives you to actually take action, to learn. And then we want to reward ourselves at the end of every week, that you stick to that study schedule that you have, which we'll talk more about. Reward yourself with something simple. It could be some takeout, or it could be, I love candles, so I reward myself with candles at the end of every month where I've accomplished my goals. So anything that you like, a simple little thing, doesn't have to cost a lot of money, could be free as well, whatever it is, but make sure you reward yourself, because this gives you something tangible to look forward to whenever you don't feel like sitting down and actually practicing and improving your English. Then friends. And I'm sure everyone has a friend or a family member who is also studying English or who would like to study English. So something you can do is to tell them your goals and tell them what you're studying. And then at the end of each month and at the end of each week or month, tell them how much you've progressed. And the bonus tip here, it's a well-known fact that whatever you need to learn, you should teach. Whatever you need to learn, you should teach. So what you are learning, teach it to someone else, and this is a proven method for you, yourself, to actually improve your learning process. It aids in remembering, and it builds extreme confidence. Even if you're not so sure about it, but just teach it. Teach what you've learned. It will build great self-confidence. Okay. All right, so let's go to the next very important tip, is to focus on your audience. This is a very important one because most of my clients, my former clients, have struggled with this one a lot. So most people experience anxiety when they're speaking in their second language or in a language that is not their native language, in this case, English, whether they're speaking with clients, coworkers, acquaintances, whoever it is. And in order to get rid of this, we need to understand where this fear is rooted. And basically, it's rooted in self-preoccupation. So basically, we're all asking ourselves questions such as, how am I doing? Am I making any sense? Do I sound bad? These are the type of questions that keep arising in the mind and keep going on in circles. So the key to actually attaining self-confidence when you're speaking or communicating in English, this includes writing, is to shift that focus from yourself to your audience, whoever it is, one person, 100 people, whoever it is. So this means a mental shift that you're going to do. So in practical terms, what we're talking about is, imagine that there's a pause button in your brain. And once you feel those questions, actually be present and understand that you're feeling and having those questions in your mind, mentally hit that pause button on those questions, and we're going to replace them with questions which focus on your audience, whoever it is, one person or more people. So this is, like I said, a mental shift, and replacement questions should not include I, right? And how am I doing? Am I making any sense? Do I sound bad? We're getting rid of that bad habit. We're replacing it with a good habit. So the replacement question should be, how are you? Is everything clear? Or even, can you hear me? Especially now that we're all on Zoom and we're working, a lot of us are working online. So can you hear me? It sounds really simple, but what it does mentally is it just takes the focus, the heat, and the pressure off of you and moves it to the audience. And therefore you're more free. So the questions that I just mentioned don't have to exist only in your mind. You can actually say them out loud. These are questions you can say out loud. So psychologically, like I said, it will take the heat off of you and it will allow you to focus on your audience and on the message that you want to convey rather than on any unnecessary fears and doubts. So that's focus on your audience. Another thing that a lot of clients I've worked with have had issues with is simplifying. Simplicity in language can also equal eloquence. So I'm sure you all know in whatever language is your native language that there are a lot of people, conversationalists and speakers, who try so hard to make sure that they use extremely complicated vocabulary. And when they do that, they lose all clarity in their speech. It isn't clear, it isn't concise. Or if they're not doing that, they're trying to do too much in one conversation, in one presentation, and it kind of ends up like they're going in circles and are never getting to the point. So again, I'm going to repeat, simplicity equals eloquence. Now, if you do one of the two things above that I mentioned, so try to use complicated vocabulary or try to do and say too much in one conversation or presentation, what this does is it causes worry, it causes anxiety because you're thinking, oh my God, have I left anything out? And it causes you to lose your train of thought. You forget what you were about to say. And then your message gets diluted and it's not as clear and concise as you want it to be. So to avoid this, before you give any kind of presentation or engage in any kind of meeting or conversation, your aim is, and you can write it down, your aim has to be to communicate one basic idea. So you should have that basic idea in mind before you actually speak or give a presentation. And you want to take that one idea and keep it short and simple. Use regular vocabulary. Use the vocabulary that you already have at the moment. So this actually does not take away from your eloquence, your fluency. It actually adds to it. Basically, a person who can say what they mean in a very short sequence of words is a person who has mastery of any language, in this case, the English language. All right, here's another big one. 1 second, let's make sure this is okay. So here's another big one, removing filler words. Filler words, what they are meaningless words, phrases, or sounds, usually sounds, that we make like and and okay, right, you know. So these are just meaningless words, phrases, or sounds, and they mark a pause or a hesitation in speech. They are also called pause words or hesitation forms, but the most common name is filler words because what we're trying to do is fill that space in between what we just said and what we're about to say. And these words are interjected when the speaker is groping for words or the speaker is at a loss for the next thought. So this, if we use too many filler words, automatically it makes us sound less confident, and within us, we feel less confident. But we all use filler words in conversations and even presentations without even noticing it. Now, this is okay. It's absolutely fine to have a few filler words when you're having a chat with a friend, no problem. But an overuse of filler words can make you sound, again, less than confident. It can also make you sound unsure of what you're talking about. This is something you don't want in a presentation. You don't want the audience to look at you and think, this guy or this woman is not really sure about what they're pitching here, what they're talking about. So what's the key to removing filler words? And this takes practice. The key is very simple. It's pausing. People are so afraid to pause when they're speaking that they incorporate these so many filler words like and you know, all of these filler words. Just pause for a few seconds. It's okay. It's better to stop talking, regain your thoughts, regain your composure, and then move on. So to eliminate those filler words, just pause. And the lack of ums and ahs alone, just the lack of these, can make you sound so much more confident. So every time that you feel you're about to use a filler word, try this trick. Pause instead. Pause. It'll give your mind time to get back on track. Okay, another thing is worry. I have a lot of worried clients. They are excessively worried about making mistakes. This is something that is irrelevant. It It does nothing for you. It does nothing for the audience. There's no reason to be doing this to yourself. So as you go along your English eloquence journey, one thing that creates anxiety is definitely excessive worrying about mistakes. Now you need to remind yourself, all you have to do is remind yourself of one fact, and this will reduce, if not completely eliminate, that worry. So most audiences, think of this, most, if not all audiences, will understand if you make a mistake. And if it is a small mistake, like a small grammar mistake, anything like that, the audience may not even notice it. And inevitably, you're going to make a mistake at some point. Native speakers make mistakes all the time. No problem. Here's what you can do about it. If it's a small mistake, a minor mistake, the first thing you don't want to do is you do not want to stop and apologize for your mistake. Don't stop what you're saying, don't apologize, because that only calls attention to your mistake. Ignore it, continue on, like it never happened. Now, if it's a big mistake, let's say you used a word that you weren't supposed to use or wasn't part of your presentation. Or for example, and I give this example to all of my clients because it's perfect for this slide here. I had a client from France and he was practicing this method. So he was avoiding worry about mistakes. He was ignoring the little ones. He was feeling a lot more self-confident. And it happened that during the presentation, he, instead of using the English words, he input some French words. And what he did is he used humor to diffuse the situation. And then he continued his speech. So he used some French phrases rather than the English phrases. And what he basically did was he said, well, whoops, I'm using French because French, as you all know, is the most beautiful language in the whole world. So his audience, he said, was laughing, and the humor was wonderful. So he diffused the situation, and then he continued with his speech. And basically what this will do, your listeners, your audience, whoever you're presenting to, are going to be impressed with how gracefully you handle things. Okay? And number one, ignore the small mistakes. Never apologize for them. Don't stop. Keep going. Okay, so now we are going to jump into some methods. So the methods of how you can improve your English at home, on your own, and increase your self-confidence by doing this. So here are the best methods guaranteed to improve your English skills. Now, the first one is quite straightforward, reading literature. My program, for example, is literature-based. Reading is an amazing tool to improve your skills of any language, and we'll talk about that. And we have reading literature, we have reading out loud, and then keeping a word diary. So here we go. Let's talk about the first method, reading literature. And I want to drive home why this is important, why it's not just one of those activities that, just reading a book, that's not going to help me actually improve my speaking. Actually, it will, and we'll find out why. So the essence of reading, what is the essence of reading? It is this process, to learn, to understand, to process in your mind, to question in your mind, and then lastly, to judge or to act. And this is what's called active reading. A lot of people do passive reading, where they're just reading, they don't even remember what they've read. They have no judgment, no understanding, no questioning of what they've read. And this type of reading does no good to anyone. So we're talking about active reading. Active reading is better reading. And this means that it takes effort on the part of you, on the part of the reader. And the main part of active reading is asking questions while you read and then providing the answers to those questions yourself. So, for example, if you're reading a novel, why is this character, why did he say this? Or why is he angry? And provide the answers for yourself. All right, so let's talk about the proven reasons that reading will improve your English skills. I've written an article about this on LinkedIn and on my website, on my blog. So let's talk about input, so what we're putting in. First of all, reading enhances memory. It has been scientifically proven that when we read, we are exercising our so-called memory muscles. every new memory that we create starts forging new synapses or brain pathways. And what this means is that you reading in English will actually help you retain everything you learn, and you'll start creating these little English brain pathways, which are going to develop as you continue to read, and they will stay with you for the rest of your life. So that's the first thing for input. The second thing is your analytical and thinking skills. The more you read in English, the more your analytical skills increase. This means that it's going to be much easier for you to spot patterns. And this is crucial to improving your vocabulary, your sentence structure, your grammar. It is the most natural way to improve any language, right? As you read, you're going to notice, oh, okay, so this is how this sentence is written, or this is how the grammar goes here, right? Oh, look at that word. I never thought it could be used in that context, etc., etc. So it increases your analytical and thinking skills. Also, a lot of my clients, a complaint I get is, I'm thinking in my native language, and then I'm translating, and then I'm speaking in English. When you read solely in English, this is going to slowly disappear, and you will start thinking in English rather than translating. Another piece of input is the expansion of vocabulary, which everyone wants. So reading, this is a fact. Reading actually increases your vocabulary more than talking, more than direct teaching. It's amazing. So the more you read, the more words you're going to be exposed to. And what's going to happen is that those words will find a way into your own vocabulary. You'll find yourself using them when you speak. You'll find yourself using them when you're writing presentations, emails, etc. And so the more words you're exposed to, right, those words will find a way into your own vocabulary. And the best part is that as a non-native speaker, you will be exposed to words that are used in specific context. So they're not just words, in a dictionary floating around, words that have no context to them. You're exposed to words in context, and this in turn is going to ameliorate your own speaking and writing fluency. All right. Another piece of input, patterns. What reading does is it provides you with vocabulary undertones and nuances. What I mean is every word in English has 10 different meanings, and it depends on the context which meaning it's going to be in which case, right? So you're going to understand vocabulary undertones and nuances. Sentence structure is going to become clear to you. Grammatical structure is going to become clear to you. So the best way for you to be ahead of your native speaking counterparts, which is absolutely possible, is definitely by taking advantage of this amazing benefit of reading. So these patterns that are occurring, they enter your brain, and what happens is they allow you to know which word to use and when to use it, and also how to express yourself eloquently and clearly and concisely. And after just a few months, they become second nature. Okay, now let's talk about output. What happens when you input all that knowledge into your brain? What is your output? What are you going to put out into the world? First of all, we have mimicry. So with all that input come major improvements in output. So what happens is mimicry or imitation occurs when you read. So personally, I know for sure that imitation plays a key role in learning and improving a language. And when you read it, it gives you a lot to mimic. You can now copy or imitate what you're reading. And you're reading literature, whether it's a self-help book, it's a novel, it's a horror, whatever genre you're reading, you're mimicking the greats. You're mimicking people who are writers, and they do this for a profession. So there's no way you can go wrong. You're going to start imitating. Great, okay. Next, better writing. This point is directly connected to mimicry, to the point about mimicry, about imitation. When you are exposed to well-written pieces of literature, whether they are serious literature or fun literature, right? Whatever pieces of literature you're exposed to, and you know how to read them, this has a noted side effect on your own writing. The side effect on your own writing is that when you know how to read literature, you're going to know how to observe the way that people write in English, right? That writers write in English. So you're going to observe the cadence, the fluidity, the writing style of the authors that you're reading. And whether you like it or not, whether you plan it or not, this is going to invariably influence your own writing, whatever it's in relation to, okay? And then we have better communication skills. And what I actually mean by this, I mean storytelling. And what is storytelling? Well, it's what all humans do on a daily basis. It's verbal communication. We are all storytellers in one way or another. So the more stories, the more novels you read, the better you are going to become at telling your own story. So since reading, and here I'm talking about reading fiction specifically. Nonfiction is also great, but here I'm talking about fiction. So since reading fiction gives you wonderful vocabulary, this means that your own stories, your daily communication, whether at work or outside of work, will be more interesting, will be more persuasive to others, right? So to make a long story short, reading allows you to express yourself in an eloquent, motivational, and inspirational way. The best thing you can do right now. Okay, so how do we incorporate this? And I have my notes here just in case I forget something. But firstly, how to incorporate. Choose a novel that interests you. And in the description box after this stream, I'm going to leave a link to my blog where you have a list of novels that I have specifically chosen because they're excellent. So choose a novel that interests you. And what I'd like you to do is get a copy in both English and your native language. And the reason we want this is because it's so much easier. Now I'll explain in a second. So what you want to do is read one page in English and then read the same page in your native language. Now, why? Why would you do that? Well, because it improves understanding of the English version of the book. And because you might come across 10 new vocabulary words on one page. You don't want to go back and underline and go to a dictionary for all 10 of these words on each page. You just look at the page that you have, right, in your native language, and you understand, oh, okay, so this is what that word means. You're going to pick up the meaning that way. It makes it so much easier. And if you do this for only 30 minutes every day, you are going to see a big difference in just 1 month. We're all busy, but most of us are at home right now. So 30 minutes a day, we can fit that in. We can fit that in if we want to. Okay, another method is reading out loud. Most people don't think of this method, they don't know about it, but reading out loud, what I mean by this is if you want to improve the way that you present yourself, even the way that you physically carry your body when you are giving a presentation or speaking, reading fluency is the way to do it. So reading out loud is the way to do it. When you have reading fluency, it's your ability to read a book or text, piece of paper, a text clearly, right? And as you go along, you're correcting your pronunciation mistakes until you make no errors. A lot of people, when they read aloud, when they read silently, they think, okay, I sound good. But when they actually read a page of that book or that text out loud, they stumble, right, in the way that they are reading, in the way that they're trying to pronounce, in their enunciation, okay? So here's what you can do. The more you practice this fluency, the more confidence you will have because you're at home. It gives you a safe environment to practice in. You're going to increase your reading speed, and by increasing your reading speed, you're going to be able to process words faster. Your speaking will also become faster, okay? And we want to start reading aloud by ourselves at home. So here's what we want to do. We want to choose a text that is approximately just 1 page long, and I'd like you to pick something that you will enjoy reading. It could be a novel, but I suggest an article that you like, any article. I suggest that this article is something that you are interested in, but something that you're not too familiar with. So let's say you like gardening, but you really don't know a lot about gardening. So an article about gardening would be great. So what you're going to do is that every day for 7 days, you're going to record your own voice reading the same text, that same article, for 7 days. Then you're going to listen to yourself, and I guarantee you're going to see a big difference between day 1 and day 7 in your confidence, right? So just walk around your house and do this, around your room and do this. And then after the first 7 days, choose a different text and do the same thing. So you can develop your fluency, your speaking fluency, and your confidence by making this method a daily ritual. So it'll only take 10 minutes every day or even less. Try this, you will not regret it. Okay, method number 3 is keeping a word diary, and I will leave a word diary page for you that I've created that I'll show you in a bit what it looks like, but it will be down below in the description box and you can download it. So if you incorporate the methods from what we've just talked about, you are going to be able to figure out the meanings of new words simply from context. However, when you're reading a book, for those words that seem extremely difficult, that you're just like, there's no way I'm going to remember this, I'm not going to remember this, then a word diary is the key to your success. But not just any word diary. Here's what my word diary looks like. As you can see, there are a couple of different sections. So what we need to do first is you're going to write down your new word in English, what the word is. So for example, love, right? Then you're going to write it down in your native language. You are going to add the definition of the word, which you can find online. My favorite dictionary is the Cambridge Online Dictionary. It's a wonderful, Cambridge Online Dictionary, it's a wonderful dictionary. So you write down the definition, and then you also look for an example sentence in the online dictionary so that you have context. You write that down. And lastly, this is the most important step. Here, you want to create a personal, intimate connection with that word. So it has to be something that has either happened in your life, that's related to your life in some way. And it needs to cause some kind of emotion, whether it's, you want to laugh, it's a funny situation, a sad situation, happy, whatever it is. Make sure that it's connected to you emotionally and it's connected to your life. Now, if the word is intangible, if it's something you can't see or touch, like love, what you need to do is connect the intangible word with a tangible thing. So for example, when I think of love, I think of my husband, right? So I would write something along the lines of, I love my husband, for example, for your example, personal example sentence. So you've connected love with something tangible, something you can touch, a person, a thing, and this way it's going to stick in your brain. Okay, so the last thing that I want to mention is also a lot of people that I've talked to have told me, I don't have that much time to read in my daily life. And then what I suggest is, if that's the case, then definitely do audiobooks. Audiobooks are a wonderful way to incorporate English into your life, into your daily life. So I've left a link for you in the description box. I will leave it for Audible. And let me check my notes. Right, so the Premium Plus that I'm using is only $14.95 a month, and this is what I use every month because I love listening to audiobooks. And if you click on the link, you will get 1 month or 30 days for free, where you can choose any book of your choice for free to listen to. So I'll leave that down below. But why audiobooks? Because you can be doing other things while you're listening to an audiobook. So I suggested it to one client. He has to commute. He drives a lot. He's now listening to audiobooks. And he said that this has actually helped him start to think more in English rather than translate from Spanish. His native language is Spanish, from Spanish to English and vice versa. So try that out. I use them when I'm washing dishes, when I'm doing anything around the house. I listen to an audiobook. For me, it's just for fun, but I'm also learning many new words and many new phrases. So definitely do that. Okay. All right. That is it from me in terms of these tips and tricks to self-confidence. And what I'd like to do is just, for those of you that are interested in actually jump-starting and actually getting to your goals, your career goals, and you need English for them, you need eloquent English and more than advanced English for them, I'm going to give you a detailed overview of the English for Consultants 3-month program. I will be very brief. So here we go. We start off with Module 1 with my clients. Module 1 is called Feel at Ease, and this is where we look at confidence, how to increase it. So we'll be doing an analysis of your comprehension and speaking skills. And what will happen is after the session, you're going to be sent 3 transcripts. Your original transcript, what you said originally, your edited transcript, when I edit your speaking skills, and then the final one. And there's going to be an overview. We're going to sit down and do an overview of the transcript, and it indicates for you the problem areas as well as how to solve them. It also indicates what you're actually doing good at. Now in Module 2, which is called Solidify Your Foundation, we will be working with many articles. So what you're going to learn and practice it's a long list, so I'm just going to go through it. How to present, vocabulary attainment and retention methods, cognates, Latin root words, suffixes, prefixes, synonyms and phrasal verbs, how to make your thoughts fit your specific audience, creating your own improved spoken and written pieces and presentations. Then sentence structure, how to vary your sentence structure and the importance of sentence variation and what it can help you achieve. And obviously lots of practice. And then we go on to the last module, which is Module 3, titled Attaining Eloquence. So we're going to analyze style. We're going to do an analysis of writing and speaking styles and techniques so that we can prepare you for implementing them. We're going to talk about reading, the essence of reading, the reading of practical texts, the role of persuasion, the basic elements of style, the writing of your own persuasive and practical texts using all of these acquired methods. Then we're going to move from practical texts such as articles, serious texts, right, nonfiction, to literary text. We're going to look at the value of literary texts. We're going to be reading 2 short stories. And in these 2 short stories, you're going to learn the importance of narration, not just for fun, but so that you are able to understand your own narration style and become the narrator that you want to be. We're going to look at themes, symbols, motifs. We're going to study style and technique. Then we're going to apply everything you've learned. And I'm not going to go into too much detail of how we do that, but apply everything you've learned. Then we're going to study and implement getting your point across clearly and eloquently using the highest elements of language and style. Then we're going to look at syntax and diction, how to recognize it, how to analyze it, how to apply it. We're going to focus on tone. We're going to focus on using imagery in writing, right? And it's going to be translated into your own presentations and your other forms of communication that you have to do. We're going to look at the use of different types of irony, how you can apply them, the writing of your own essay. You as a narrator, who are you as a narrator? How to decide on your structure in both your oral and written communication, depending on the occasion, the situation, and depending on the audience. We're going to look at the use of voice, literary devices and how you can implement them. We're going to have a speech of your own. We are doing progress tracking along the way and a presentation of your own. Then we are going to do the same thing we did way at the beginning of the course. We're going to have that transcript. We're going to have that same conversation about that same article. And then we're going to have the same original, edited, and final transcript. And you are going to see a huge difference. So we're going to do an overview of the transcript. And then there is time left and sessions left for additional inquiry, as well as 1 or 2 personal projects that you as a client find necessary to work on. Okay, so again, thank you so much for joining me. If you didn't catch the live stream, that's okay. It's my first one. I hope this thing is working. But all the links will be in the description box below, so you can rewatch this as many times as you want. One thing that I'd love to ask of you, whoever decides to watch this, is to please shoot me a comment, leave me a comment below, and tell me what are some topics you would like live streams on. What are some topics you're interested in? And also, if you would be interested in having a weekly sort of book club where we are all reading the same chapter of the same book. We're coming together here on a live stream and discussing it. This would be a chance for you to practice your vocabulary skills, your sentence structure, your speaking skills, basically. So if anyone would like that, please leave me a comment in the comment section below. And I want to thank you all for joining. Whoever joined, thank you for watching. If you're watching later, and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.